Hey, there we are. All right. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to Talking Heads, episode 433, your once-weekly live show for the latest in beer and tech news. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Tom.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us on this Wednesday night or in podcast form over on Spotify or wherever your favorite podcasts are found. If you've never seen the show before, we talk beer, tech. This week, the world of security is going to be front and center. Yeah, we basically like to hang out, have a couple of beers, talk about the latest in all things Homelab, server, tech, etc., anything that interests us. If you like the content you see on the channel, want to help support us in what we do, jump on over to patreon.com/craftcomputing, get joined up, and that'll get you access to our Discord server. You can talk with us throughout the week, keep the conversation going, and join the almost 1,000 strong that sit over on the Discord server every single week. It is genuinely a good place to be.
And if you tag me, I do show up and reply.
Yes.
So just in case anyone's wondering, I'm not really good at Discord, but I can find tags, and I do reply, because some of the egg counting things that got discussed, and then the really cool, I actually really appreciated the table people shared with me, the turning two different small Unify racks into a coffee table. Definitely a cool one.
Nice.
So I do appreciate those shares, and feel free, you can DM me and whatnot. So I don't do my own Discord anymore, but I'm hanging out in Jeff sometimes.
There you go.
Can you guess the beer by the sound?
Ooh. I cannot.
Is that coming through, or is it?
I heard a little something. I bet on the outgoing, though. I bet YouTube just crushed it.
Yeah, I was thinking there. And
yeah.
now I got a little beer on me, but I'm okay.
Lighter dark. Oh, there. Okay, I see it now.
The harp.
There you go.
So,
the harp. Yeah.
The harp.
Well,
I had to get the foam off of it.
Well, it didn't play with like they.
I could hear the bubbles going, the little ball.
Yeah,
in there,
little nitro.
and,
Yeah.
Yeah, little nitro. And someone did a video of, like, they made a clear can and played with a nitro ball to show how it worked. I don't know. It came up on my YouTube, and I ended up watching it twice.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is neat.
This
how
is
effective that little ball is.
This is a beer, I think, by some of the loosest standards, although people are going to get excited about this one. So, a lot of you know, I live in Oregon. We have a brewery here that is world-renowned. If you are involved at all in, like, beer trading groups, if you have beer from this brewery, you can write a ticket to, like, anything you want in return. Like, it's that kind of beer. This is from Great Notion, from up in Portland. They're known for a lot of their, like, really thick pastry stouts. Like, they've got their triple stack, or blueberry pancakes, and they've got a fudge beer. They've lots of really fun stuff. This one, kind of off the wall. And I wanted to give it a shot. This is Great Notion's Orange Creamsicle Fruit in a Can. 7.1%. Tart ale with natural and artificial flavors. It is a beer, but how much beer versus how much fruit, I have no idea. So we're going to find out together.
Is that like a creamsicle? Is that like an orange? Is that
orange creamsicle? Yeah.
Okay, orange creamsicle. Yeah.
Yeah. They
I'm
call
always
it
mixed. I like some of the fruity beers, but they're not usually my favorite.
Ooh. Licked it off my fingers already, and I'm excited now.
Oh, look at that.
The color's good. Oh my gosh. Not really a head to speak of on it.
That looks like orange juice, my friend.
Very, very thick. Thick like orange juice coming out.
Yeah.
I'm surprised there's no pulp in it. Like
it looks like orange juice. I mean, from
all right. Smells a little sour. Smells a little bit more sour than I would expect for them saying orange creamsicle. But I am getting a little bit of vanilla, a little bit, like, very orange up front. But you can smell the sweetness on the back of it. So, here we go.
It's a mimosa. Yeah. Does it taste like a mimosa?
It's more mimosa than orange creamsicle.
Okay.
It is very, very bright carbonation, and so that lends itself to feeling a little bit like a champagne on it.
Okay.
But I like that with the, like I said, very bright carbonation. It's very, very sharp. That actually plays really well with the tartness, and I think without it, it would be so sickly sour you wouldn't be able to stomach it. But because there's enough bitterness from the carbonation, it's kind of offsetting the tart. But then it finishes very sweet, very vanilla, almost honey-like in the sweetness on the back end. Not quite orange creamsicle, but you could say creamsicle inspired.
Okay.
Yeah. That is very sour. All right. Good for hot weather. I don't know if no. This is not a refreshing beverage. If anything, this would be like a wintertime dessert beer or something like that. Like I would akin this more to a pastry stout as far as like how you would enjoy it, than a bright effervescent summer beer like a shandy or something like that. No.
Yeah. I was just in Florida, and there's a bunch of hotels that are like resort hotels, and they have the house IPA is called Gator Drool. So I wouldn't go out of my way to get it, but it's there and it's an IPA, so
Yeah.
and it's plentiful because they have open bars. So it's not the worst thing you'll have, but it's not the best either.
Well, if that's not a ringing
I do like the
endorsement.
name though, Gator Drool, and it's got
Yeah.
a gator on it, so you know they're laying into the Florida theme. I always think that's funny to wake up in Florida this morning and then get on a plane and land here in Detroit, and now I'm talking to someone on the other side of the state,
Yeah.
other side of the country.
Travel is always weird.
It is something weird about it. Like to think I was quite far from here earlier.
Yeah, like I've done it a couple times where you wake up on the Pacific and you go to sleep on the Atlantic. Like
Yeah.
I've done those like single day trips before, and those will throw you for a loop, both time wise and otherwise.
Yeah.
You know, I've flown over the Pacific once now, and so I've woke. We took the plane to Taiwan last year. I think it was a 10:30 p.m. flight out of PDX, and so you woke up in Portland. You went about your whole day. Like you had lunch, you know, watched TV with your kids, and then it's like, all right, kids are in bed. I'm gonna leave for the airport now. You go through the airport. You fall asleep on the plane, and you wake up, and you're still on the Pacific, but on the other side of it. And 17-hour time difference.
Yeah.
It's weird. Long travel
Whenever
is
I've done
weird.
consulting in Australia, it's like, oh, I'm talking to the future. It's the next day there.
No, why didn't they warn us about all these security exploits? They knew about them yesterday.
Yeah, no
Right?
kidding.
Yeah. GitHub confirms 3,800 internal repos were stolen via a malicious VS Code extension.
But what VS Code extension? Inquiring minds want to know. I think that's still been omitted. They have not disclosed that. Yeah. If only there was some effort put into validating said extensions, which has been requested for years. You know, 3 years ago, I did a talk, and there's actually a YouTube video you can find that I did because I took the talk and turned it into a YouTube video. But I covered the VS Code extensions, and the one specifically I covered there was the Dracula one because it was so popular, and it was a embedded thing in there, and it would just wreck you essentially, stealing credentials. And then like Microsoft could solve this and put more effort into this. 3 years later, they're now the victims of the thing they didn't put effort into, which really brings me joy. Like, ha ha. I don't know. No, I don't wish this on anyone, but if it's going to happen to someone, it did happen to Microsoft, so I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe someone in Microsoft go, that might be a problem. All these developers claim about these malicious code extensions that we should do something on. Maybe now we should.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, you would think that enough developers complain about this being a possibility and someone's finally going to exploit it, and someone finally exploited it. Sorry, when we switched over to the internet view, I forgot I had turned off my audio interface because I was fixing that scene. By the way, notice our scene is correct now. We've got the cameras where they should be,
yes.
and the internet was already up.
Dragging everything around,
right?
And scaling it.
Yeah, I didn't have to scale anything today. It's because I actually put some work into this template this week, and got it all fixed. But I forgot to unmute my microphone. Anyway, yeah, malicious VS Code extension started exfiltrating data. Like Tom said, they still haven't disclosed which one.
Yeah.
But Team PCB Hacker Group is selling the data. They are kind of positioning themselves as like altruistic in this one. They're saying we don't want to hold GitHub for ransom. We're not in the business of extorting GitHub. We just want one buyer to buy the code from us, and we'll shred the code on our end. That's literally what they said in their claim of the ransom. If you're interested, send your offers to the communications below. We are not interested in under 50K, and the best offer will get it.
Yeah, they set a number.
Yeah.
What fun. And Team PCP is on a speed run through security disasters because they're responsible for a lot of these. Mm-hmm. You've probably seen the meme, the supply chain cat meme. Mm-hmm. I wake up, there's a supply chain attack. I wake up, there's a supply chain attack. That's like the theme for 2026.
Yes.
Almost every day.
Yep.
Oh, is it? Which supply chain is getting attacked today, folks?
Yeah.
GitHub itself. Woohoo! Should we pivot to that other story that was also found on GitHub that was...
which one?
Someone leaked a lot of creds.
Oh yeah.
GovCloud.
Yes.
We're on the GitHub topic.
Elliot sends over $20 super chat. Thank you very much, Elliot. Jeff, the expensive idea shill. I am a member of the Bolt Club and loving it. Woohoo! Bolt EV convert. Hooray! Thank you for the $20. But no, glad to hear you're enjoying your Bolt. That's awesome. But yeah, GitHub was in the news twice in 3 days for things. One was their fault, getting hacked by Team PCP. This one was not their fault. This was the fault of CISA using their service. And it turns out hard embedding your AWS GovCloud keys on your GitHub repository is probably not the best place to put them.
And this took effort. This is willful ignorance.
Yes.
There are features that are default on GitHub. Default on features to stop you from doing dumb. They were turned off.
Yep.
So this is like... and not to mention, this is stuff that should never be on GitHub. And there's probably at one point those features were on. That's why they turned them off so they could do dumb.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, it is... ugly and messy, and I don't understand exactly why this was done. I don't really have an answer. There's no control that was violated. There's not a process. This is just complete human stupidity at the highest level.
This is
like someone thought this is a good idea.
This is malicious idiocy.
Yeah, malicious idiocy. It's like weaponized idiocy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so bad they thought it was on purpose. They did pull the repo down, but it took them another 48 hours to revoke the creds that they found in there.
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother problem. Like, that should have been revoked right away. So I think it was 48 hours to get the creds. At first I was confused because I guess it was taken down fast, and I'm like, oh, they didn't roll the creds. Like, the creds were still valid 48 hours later. Woof.
Yeah. Yeah, idiocy on all accounts, putting them there in the first place and then not revoking them once it's discovered. Like, do you want more attacks? Do you want your data gone? Do you want state secrets all? Maybe that is what this was about, though. Who knows?
Weaponized idiocy, malicious idiocy, take your pick.
Yeah.
There's not even... this is one of those. When I read this, is like I had a friend that used to work for the government in that space specifically, and when I was sharing that with them, they were like, "This is why I don't work there no more." They actually went on a rant about how bad it's become, because they used to do these 5-year cycles, and they kept breaking things down to 1-year cycles for bidding. And he said no one ever gets a project done before the bid comes up again, and so they want to keep some of the team's employees, but every time you switch, because the lowest bidder wins, so then they lay off from the losing party those employees, and then the other place tries to pick them all up. Like, they bid less, so now they want to pay them less to get the project done.
Yeah.
And they already know what's going to happen in a year. It's going to go up for bid again before they complete the project, and the cycle begins again and again.
Yep.
Yeah. There's better ways to do this. It's not that all government's bad or things like that. This is just a particular case, especially with CISA, this last year of defunding and NIST getting defunded. That was when I was just at the conference I was at. I was on a panel talking about the absolute disaster that vulnerability management is in right now, because we are losing our source of truth. NIST is pretty much throwing their hands up in the air. We don't have enough money to do this, and we may not be doing it for much longer. So good luck, guys. When there's no more CVEs. There is some hope on the horizon. It's not all doom and gloom. For those of you that are wondering, GCVE is becoming a thing. That is the European version of CVE. And it actually seems to be put together much better and has a funding model that doesn't rely on hope. So, yeah. Our race to the bottom basically means we're probably not, and I say we because me and Jeff are here in the United States. The United States will not be through MITR, which subsequently is funded by CISA, which is also where CVE lives. And that will, we may not be the holders of that much longer, is my feelings. So that's the we I speak of. And I imagine there's a strong percentage of you that are Americans as well going, we going to have that no more? No. But it's okay. It's okay. There's smart people that are going, while y'all are having a little moment in the U.S., we're going to go fix that for you.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Can we find some better news?
Yeah. Let's... This one was really fun. Something that was kind of rumored, but was shut down pretty quickly because, like, oh, they'd never do that. AMD back in 2017 launched Zen, their Zen architecture.
Yeah.
They said at the time, we're introducing the AM4 socket. We will be supporting this socket for 5 years, which was a huge announcement at the time, if AMD was worth a damn and if it was competitive and things like that, because Intel had famously been switching their socket every 2 years. You would get a tick and a tock. You'd get an upgrade in manufacturing process, and then you'd get a little bit of refinement, and then, oh, we're going to change 2 pins and move from an 1155 socket to an 1151 or an 1150 socket or an 1150 V2 socket or whatever the case may be. So AMD saying, hey, we understand that sucks, and so we're going to support this socket with updates, with new CPUs, with new features for the next 5 years. Which would have put it in 2022. And AMD held on that promise. It wasn't until 2023 that they introduced AM5, the new version of the consumer socket. And we thought AM4 was done, right? Well, here we are in 2026. AMD is re-releasing the Ryzen 7 5800X3D.
Ooh.
For the AM4 socket. Why would they be doing this? Well, AM4 is a platform that uses DDR4 memory. And I don't know if you've priced memory lately. DDR5 is basically unobtainium. If you want 32 gigs in a consumer rig, it's almost $1,000 today.
Yeah.
It's It's insane. But you can get DDR4. You can get 32 gigs of DDR4 for like $300. So AMD's actually tossing gamers a little bit of a bone, saying, "Hey, we're just gonna respin up these chips on 5 nanometer and re-release the CPU that we released back in 2022 for $300, and you guys can go buy new motherboards and buy DDR4 memory, and it won't cost you an arm and a leg anymore." Now, it's not the latest and greatest CPUs, but for people who had been putting off upgrading, and maybe they're on a Zen 2 or a Zen 1 CPU, like a 2600 or something like that, re-releasing your fastest gaming CPU ever on a platform for $300 years later actually is kind of a win in this economy.
And there's a good library of games out there. You know what I mean? That there's and it's not like we have to play every A title. There's a lot of love and a lot of community around other games that may be a few years old. So I fear that we are slowly moving towards, with all of this, kind of a lack of the builder market that there used to be.
Yeah.
It's obviously shrunk. It used to be like everyone, build your own PC, and it shrunk because readily available PCs. Even myself, I didn't, knock me down a few notches if you want, folks, because Tom did buy a gaming laptop instead of building one, but it just made sense. It was portable and it was on sale. I know.
Gosh.
I know. It's like, because I
Sorry, folks, I don't know where he went. That's the weirdest damn thing.
got thrown right off of here for that. Losing my tech cred here. But, I admittedly, especially when we all talk about the mini species in a Homelab.
Yeah.
But that is a more recent phenomenon. It used to always be, let's build. And it just becomes, it was becoming a little bit down. And then it just got hit with a baseball bat when AI came along and raised the prices on Obtainium.
Yeah.
It just smashed it out of the park going, well, what are we going to do now? What rando things can we glue together to make it work? Anyone got that DDR3 laying around? So I'm okay with this. I like the idea that they're bringing some of this back, bringing some opportunity back so it doesn't just die off.
Yeah. And the 5800X3D, like, make no bones about it, it's a Zen 3 chip, but it is still faster than most Zen 4 or Zen 5 non-X3D chips when it comes to gaming. Even without DDR5, even without, PCI Express Gen 5, this will run the latest GPUs. You can absolutely throw a 5090 onto this. You'll lose a couple of percent at the very top end in 1080p if you're trying to get 1000 FPS. Maybe you'll only get 940, versus a Zen 5 chip. But this is an amazing, amazing chip. And kudos to AMD for listening to what customers need right now.
Yeah. Someone asked if this will hurt the gaming market. And you've reviewed a lot of these. I think a lot of the dedicated pieces of hardware. I really like the portable gaming market.
Yeah.
So I don't really think it's the end of the gaming market by any means. It's definitely going into these smaller form factors. And me and Jeff talked a couple times about the excitement around being able to emulate x86 on these other ARM processors and the work Steam is doing to bring that forward. So I don't think the game market will shift and go. People want to play games. People love playing games. The younger generation more so. If anything, what's actually being destroyed? Physical baseball games, like actual in-person watch humans play sports. I mean, technically you're in person watching some humans sport on a keyboard, but it's a little bit different. They're not kicking a ball or throwing a ball or hitting sport puck, whatever those. There's a real downturn in that. There was some good analysis I was reading a while ago, so it became kind of an interest piece of that the younger generation doesn't really go. And there's a lot of truth in that. There's not a lot of young people, not as many young people at the ball field anymore. And they're trying to figure out ways to bring him in. I just happened to be at Comerica Park, home of the Tigers, the other day for a tour, and it's really, the shift there is interesting. They're making wealthy experiences, but they're not doing anything. They're the older guys there seem really disappointed, as they showed us, where they have ever higher tiered expensive seats there because they're creating these experiences. And the guy kept air quoting it. He's like, you can experience those seats. They're $4,000 a game.
Yeah.
If you'd like to experience them.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up, is the old people complaining that young people don't go to sport events anymore are the same people telling young people you can't buy a house because you ate too much avocado toast.
Yeah.
Like, do you realize what living costs today? What's funny is you say young people aren't going to games anymore. I haven't been to a sporting event in a number of years. Until very recently. My oldest daughter actually won tickets to go to a Blazer game back towards the end of the season, and so we went and watched a Blazer game, and that was a lot of fun. Sold out house, 19,000 people. But Portland just got a WNBA team, and we went literally last Tuesday. And so I saw my first WNBA game, Portland Fire and New York Liberty. Heck of a game, great environment. But it showed the disparity between the pricing of the women's game and the men's game, because the men's game, the tickets that we won were like $250 a seat. The women's game were $50. And in fact, you can get into a women's into a Fire game. You can get in the 300 section. I kid you not, for $13. And again, I don't know if you've priced living lately. Yeah. I don't have the money right now to go blow $50 on dinner and then $500 at a game. Like, it's just not something that's in the cards for anyone, let alone 6 times a month. Average NBA or WNBA season. That being said, I live an hour from the stadium too. If I had a gas car, it'd be $25 to drive to Portland and back, just to drive there. I have an EV. We did the full Fire game with dinner, I think, for $70. We drove up there. We had dinner. We had a couple of beers. We went to the Fire game, came home. That I could afford, and that's something a lot of young people could afford, is an experience like that. What's funny is I also had a friend of mine, Rhett, actually my other co-host here. They have season tickets for the Portland Thorns, for the Major League Women's Soccer League here. And he had an extra ticket on Sunday. And so I actually took my oldest to her first soccer game and had a great time. But I knew people who had tickets, and so I didn't spend the, $40 or $50 a head to get it through the door.
Yeah. So the gaming industry is doing well.
The gaming industry is going to be fine.
The rise of horror games has been odd to me, though. It seems like a lot of young people are playing all the different, was it Dead by Daylight and some of those other ones. They seem to have really ramped up in popularity, which is interesting to me because that's just not a genre that really existed in my earlier, younger gaming years. Not that I could think of. There's
the new indie one called Repo that a lot of people have been playing. That's a multiplayer game, but it uses 3D acoustics within the environment. So you have voice chat, but the voice chat gets quieter as a player gets further away from you. Cool. And a really cool implementation of that. Like, we've been talking about doing that in games forever, but no one's ever really done it that well before.
Yeah, horror existed in film. Yeah, and the horror genre in film is becoming popular again.
Yeah.
There's, I don't remember the name of it. I just know Adam Scott was in it. My son went and seen it and told me it was good. I don't go to a lot of horror movies, but some of them are good. I like suspense. I like that. I guess Resident Evil's a horror movie. It's just that, or a horror game. I don't know. Is it? It's more action. I don't think of, like, the ones that they are trying to be more scary with the horror ones. Wasn't Five Nights at Freddy's kind of the kickoff of that? I'm not. Someone can correct me on my game lore. Because it came all after me. I was all first-person shooter. I was Unreal Tournament. I was, Doom and Quake, and those were the things I was really into. and Command and Conquer before that. Lemmings is where I started, though. I think that was the first game I really put some hours into when I was young. After I figured out how to make the Sound Blaster work and update my config sys and auto exec bat to get it to use DMA channel 5.
I'd say okay, boomer, but I did the same thing. So like,
yeah, I know.
Yeah. What was the first video game that I really got into? I spent a lot of time on Tank Wars. That classic, DOS game. I did do quite a bit of Lemmings. We had Lotus Challenge was, I think, my first racing game, and it featured nothing but Lotus cars. So like your Lotus, your 85 Lotus Esprit or whatever, and you'd race it down the highway.
Yeah, the Atari games I had, some were arcade ports, like Bump and Jump was an arcade port over to the Atari. I liked Bump and Jump a lot, though. Bump and Jump and Enduro. The Enduro was really a bad game. I want to replay it now. I like that you can go to the Internet Archive and they have like the emulation of the games. I have a lot of this emulated, but also it's kind of fun.
Yeah, totally. And then console side, we had an NES growing up, and so I obviously Mario 3, original Zelda, Contra. Yeah. Cut my teeth on a lot of classics.
All the good ones there. Up, up, down, down, left, right, left, right.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Leisure Suit Larry. I had a neighbor kid, man. That was the forbidden game. I go over playing his Commodore 64. We actually played California games. We just
that's a good one too. Yeah.
We were too young to know or understand it. We just knew it was forbidden. Therefore, we should keep playing this game that we didn't really care for. But it was just like, but we're not supposed to play it. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
That was.
Leisure Suit Larry got passed around on some floppy disks that said Lemmings on them at my school.
Yeah.
So, I remember in middle school, we had finally gotten internet that was worth a darn at the school level, and we had one of the state's first computer labs, and I used to go in during lunchtime and surf the internet and download Sega Genesis and NES ROMs from the school computers. They had way better internet than I had at home, and so I'd bring myself in like 10 floppy disks. And then, the Sega ones were kind of tough because most of the time you could only fit one, maybe two Sega games on a single floppy. Whereas NES, they're 64, maybe 128 kilobytes each. On Nesticle, Gens, I think was the Sega emulator.
Nesticle stuff.
Yep.
Oh, that was good.
Yep. And then, man, when ZSNES came out and basically introduced SNES emulation that was doable on a Pentium, like that was huge. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, I need to go download these ROMs now.
Oh, the early days of ROMs. If I still have I've got them, just like probably you as well. When we have this like collection of them. Jay, our friend from Learn Linux TV, has the most advanced setup. He's an Ansible nerd.
Yeah.
And so he's built all the Ansible installers and synchronizes all of his RetroPies. So when he does a save game or anything, or he sets one up, he's got a script that deploys all the ROMs, all the settings the way he wants, and all the save games. So he can pick up he can use a sync thing to sync all the save games across all of the systems, which I think is just great.
That totally tracks with Jay.
It's so over-engineered. It's beautiful.
That totally tracks.
Yeah. because he does a playthrough of, I forget which one of the Final Fantasies, so I'm not gonna
Yeah.
correct it, but is one of the, I think it's the NES one is his favorite, or is it the SNES one? One of those two.
Probably the
So he
SNES,
just-
yeah, because I do yearly playthroughs of those as well, and
Yeah.
I'll choose different versions of them. Yeah, but yeah, Final Fantasy 2 and 3 for the US, or 4 and 6 as they're known in Japan. In my opinion, the two best Final Fantasy games ever made, even over 7. 7 was good, but they still didn't quite. The gameplay is a little bit clunky. Like the actual like role playing, the battle system that was based off Final Fantasy 6, and that did very well. But I thought Final Fantasy 6 had a way more expansive story, and you can change it based on your decisions, or sometimes you get a bad or a good roll based on the RNG of the game. Like sometimes you do everything right, and spoiler alert, Sid still dies. Like
Uh,
what was the first time you had an emotional response to a video game?
ooh.
Because I know like oh, playing Mario, like you go like the sense of wonder or whatever, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking like, what's the first time a video game induced fear or joy or anxiety or something like that?
I would say two games that I really, it is very recent.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed and had, I don't know about fear really, but just a great enjoyment out of playing The Witcher. I really got into that game and put some hours into it and found it really good. And also Horizon Zero Dawn, just really got a lot out of the game. I just thought it was a fun, I was really locked in on both of them because I was side questing everything just to put more, just because I want to put more hours in the game because I so enjoyed it. And I seen it on sale for the Switch, and I'm like, oh, it says it plays good on the Switch too, and it might be a good place to replay it because I've been traveling a bit more, and on the plane, sometimes I even decided if it's a good idea to play on the plane because the Switch is actually a little bit heavy. My arms, if you're not those stupid little hard things, it's just hard to hold it, and then your arms get tired.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Then I try to set it on a tray, and it's just a little bit more awkward.
Yeah.
Because I usually sit in the aisle, the exit row seat, so there's not as easy to get. It's just, I don't know. So I got to figure that one out still.
Yeah.
I did play some games when I was flying today.
I mean, you know me. I have big man syndrome. I'm 6'4" with very broad shoulders. Like I don't fit on planes like at all. And so I have successfully played some games, especially on some longer flights. But the weight of the device definitely matters because you're sitting with your arms on the armrest and you're basically vertical, which means the blood is draining out of my hands. My fingers are going numb if I'm playing for more than 40 minutes. That's not enjoyable. I've ran into some handhelds having Bluetooth sync issues with audio, and so I'll have my noise canceling headphones, and I'll go, I'll sync the audio from my handheld into my headphones, and then the headphones play 2 seconds later than the sound on the game, and it's like, well, that's not enjoyable. Like I ran into every imaginable problem, physical and spatial wise, when trying to play games on planes.
Here's one I also really enjoyed when I first discovered it. I've played it through a few times since. And how many people even heard of this game? It's web-based. Just Google it. A Dark Room. It is. It's a darkroom.doublespeakgames.com. But if you just type in A Dark Room, it'll land you right on the page. It is an incredibly simplistic start to a very complex thing you're going to do. Yes. Oh, is it just...
So we start off all text-based.
You live mostly text-based.
Okay.
But boy, is it's imaginative.
Yeah.
It just seems so... I will tell you, man, this is a game that I like playing. I've played enough times that I know how to get to where I need to get to in it, and I know what's going to happen next. But as it reveals things to you, it keeps getting weirder. And it doesn't... It starts out so different than where it ends. There's so many different things. I won't spoil it for anyone because I really think you may enjoy this. This is one of those things.
Yeah.
Sit down and just do it, and it does make you keep clicking it. And then eventually, there's more things to click because you're lighting the fire. Eventually, you got to bring the wood.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you got to recruit people to eventually cut the wood and do the wood, and then you got to get a village built. And you build a society slowly, is what I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really neat game.
Yeah. I'll have to give that a try. Quite a few people chiming in. Red Dead Redemption. There are so many great moments in Red Dead Redemption.
I thought about that one because it seems pretty popular.
Yeah, that one, especially the scene in what's supposed to be like rural Louisiana, where, not to spoil too much, but the game's been out over a decade. Like, come on.
But you can spoil it.
Yeah, there's an old mansion and they betrayed you. They hired you to do a job and then betrayed you, and you're gonna go get your revenge. And also, they also stole one of the kids from your party, and you're gonna go get him back. And the whole gang gets on board, and they're walking through the fog toward this old Louisiana mansion, this old plantation house. And God, the setting was perfect. The mood, the music, everything was just it's such a good scene.
Love it.
One of the first times that a game actually gave me like anxiety was playing, I don't know if you remember the original Thief game.
I never played it, but I'm familiar with it.
Mid to late 90s. I think it came out about 96, 97 for the PC. It was one of the first 3D games, that and Metal Gear Solid, to really like start establishing stealth mechanics in games. And in Thief, they went way above what any game had ever done. You have a light meter on you that, depending on what level of darkness or brightness in the room, is how easily guards can see you. And so you want to stick to shadows. You had water arrows that can put out torches and fireplaces. You had... depending on the floor surface you were walking on, you made different amounts of noise. The guards would respond dynamically, and so if they heard something, they'd come investigate. If it was a pot crashing or something, they'd go, oh, pot knocked over. Okay, I'll just go about my routine then. If they heard something or saw something, though, they would come investigate and go, I know there's someone here. They would look for a pretty reasonable amount of time. They would then go get other guards, and they'd come back and sweep the whole area. And it was dynamic based on what guards are in the area and how quickly can a guard pathfind to go find another guard and come back to you. I remember I was playing this level, and I got spotted at the top of a staircase, and I ran into like this library and knocked out a torch on my way by. And so it's pitch black in this library, and I'm hiding behind this table. And this guard creaks the door open, and I've got headphones in, and it's full stereo, and he's walking,
like ambience there.
Yeah, so I'm crouched behind a table, and he's walking in. He's got a sword in front of him. Where are you? And looking around, and finally he says, "I'm gonna go, go get some help." And so he runs down the hall, and tink 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 tink. So I waited for his sound to go away. I tried to get up and around, and by the time I got to the doorway, I heard like multiple guards coming up the stairwell. And I'm like, well, that's my only way out. I went back and hid in the library. I'm crouched down, and there's guards walking around me. And they did such a good job with the sound direction, with the ambiance,
and creating that tension.
Yeah,
that makes the game like you get that, like you said, feeling from it
when
you're doing it.
Yeah, I was genuinely anxious playing this game. It was also like 2 a.m, like all the lights in the house were
all
off.
The best games are played.
Exactly. But yeah, games are fun. I that's all to say. The game market is going to be fine. It is going to have to change, though. The speed at which we were adopting new hardware has basically stopped. The top-end enthusiasts, the 1% of gamers, they're always going to have the enthusiast stuff, but it's the bottom 99% that is not going to buy as often. They're going to be on more outdated equipment right now. That's just the way of the world. People can't necessarily afford $90 for a Switch game today. People are going to gravitate more towards indie games or older games, especially if their hardware can't keep up. I'm not buying a Switch 2 because I don't think $500 is the right spend in this economy on a game console that has 2 games that are brand new, but most of them are rehashes of a game I played a decade ago. Breath of the Wild I'm sure looks phenomenal on a Switch 2. I can play it on a Switch 1.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I did go with the Switch 2 because the trade-in was reasonable on my 2 original Switches I had, because neither one of my kids played them anymore. They're just laying around.
Yeah.
So I got rid of those, got some discount, so paid a few $100 for it. And because I thought about it, I was just going to use their Switch, but I'm like, I want to play all the new Marios, and I may as well play them at a higher resolution.
Right.
And so I splurged a little, but yeah, I don't think it's a must-have purchase and things like that, especially because I have my gaming laptop still, but I have not turned it on in a couple weeks. I turned it on. I just really haven't. I don't know. I just kind of like picking up the Switch. It's just easier to play. And I like the more, as I thought laptop would be portable enough for me, but now it's like, well, I can't really play that on a plane for a few hours with the Switch.
Right. Yeah.
I did play. I got Grist. I haven't gone through, or Grist, GRIS. That's an interesting game because you're playing art. It is beautifully drawn. I don't know that it's an amazing game.
Oh, this
it's a
okay. Yeah,
game.
yeah, this game. Okay.
Yeah, that game. It's a very relaxed. It was on sale for $2.
Nice.
So I played it. I don't know if I'm all the way. How far I'm through. I got into an aggravating part because of I know what I need to do, but every time you miss, you have to start over, and it's like 4 minutes to get all the way back to where I need to gather the things. And if you don't do this double jump perfectly, it drops you back where you started, and you go through a 4-minute cycle again. And after I did a couple times, I'm quite annoyed. And I was like, I know. There's been a couple of them like that. You got to get the double jumps perfect, and it just feels awkward. So I don't know. So I may not finish the game. I am actually someone who's fine with setting a game down and not finishing it.
Yep.
I just decided I've gotten the joy out of this game. I've reached a point where it's no longer joy to Tom because he's easily agitated because I'm old. And I know time is finite. So I'll probably do something. I just find some other mindless game I'll play. But the Marios at least never get me that way. I just go through them until I win.
Yeah.
And they have just the right amount of challenge, but not too hard. And it's nice.
Yeah. They're all very beatable regardless of skill level. But, if you want to do, in the modern Marios, all the challenge coins and things like that.
There's parts I couldn't complete. And
right.
There's a couple challenges. I just am not good. Like any of the ones with the latest Mario, was it Super Mario Wonder? Some of the wall run ones or wall jumps, I'm really bad at them. So I skipped those. I mean, so I didn't 100% the game. I beat the game. But man, a couple of those wall runs or wall jumps are just this is just tedious.
When that one came out, I did get pretty deep into that one. I did end up 100%ing it. And in fact, you mentioned the wall jump ones. There's a couple of the wonder levels that are nothing but wall jumps, scaling
those are
vertical
the ones I'm talking about that I didn't do.
I had to grind on those so much.
Yeah, those are tough.
Yeah,
those are tough. But the game was wonderful. The creativity, the drawing, it really was a good mind tickle.
Yes,
it's how I looked at it. This is just so fun. The flowers dance, the ones that you sync the jumps for things for kind of I was just with the music and the jumping and this is just fun.
Yeah,
it brought me joy. So what's that other do you remember the other game that's it's another side scroller. I think it was popular on it's PC, PlayStation, and all of them. But you do a lot of stuff where it's timing jumped to the music.
Oh gosh.
That was a fun game.
Geometry Dash.
It wasn't Geometry Dash.
Okay.
But if you said it, I'd remember it.
Yeah.
Because one of those scenes, because the wife's remember was me and the wife used to both play it.
Uh-huh.
And she hates that song. Black Betty, bam, bam, bam. And they had a one that you jump to that.
Yeah.
And she's like, I hate this level. I'm like, but it's so catchy. He goes, that song won't leave my head. And I'm just like, but that level was always, because it took my wife a couple times to complete it because of her dislike of the song.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm old, suck at games equals very aggravated. Yes,
Yeah.
you're not wrong. That is.
There.
I figured time's finite. If I play games for joy, once the joy stops, I can stop playing that game and just move on to the next one. And most of these games are not particularly expensive. There's none of them outside of the Mario ones. I mean, those are what they are. They don't go on sale for $3.
Right.
So
yeah, you're gonna pay for them, but they're usually
they're the only
it.
ones. The other games, I mean, I have a handful of others that are just cheap games I got and I played them for a while, found some joy.
Yeah. Speaking of quitting games, there was a game that I quit playing that I didn't expect myself to. So I don't know if you've played Kingdom Come Deliverance. It is a very, very realistic retelling of Eastern European, so Germany through modern Ukraine and so on. The 14th century dynasties and King Sigismund and all this. Faithful historical retelling of this, but from the perspective of a peasant boy who was caught in the middle of the war. Okay. But also very realistic gameplay, swordplay, role-playing mechanics. Really fun. This came out in like 2016, 17, something like that. I found it a couple years later, but absolutely loved it. The progression that you get out of the game, the storytelling, the voice acting, it's all 100% voice acted through motion capture. And so you're actually getting like real performances from real actors. And it's just fantastic. But you progress, you go to bigger and bigger cities. The story gets bigger and broader.
Nice.
And you're trying to, become a knight, progress all of your weapons and armor and maintain them. And meanwhile, there's a war going on. It's great. There's a second game. There's Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. It starts with you as that established knight squire to a nobleman that you reached in at the end of the first game. Then you're injured in an ambush, and it's a really cool explanation of like, oh, why do you have to start progressing again? Oh, because you were injured and you were in a coma for 3 weeks and you're weak and whatnot. You still have some of the skills from the first game, but you're going to have to relearn how to sword fight. Like, you can't move like you used to. And so really fun mechanic there. But you start out as that nobleman squire, as, with stature, with all your armor and everything else. And then midway through the game, it just takes it all away from you. And you have to start from nothing. And you're now, instead of in the cities, you're in the rural areas. It's a town of like 7 people. And there's nothing to do. And it's only linear story progression. And I went, it's the opposite of what you need in gameplay. Even if it's accurate to the story they're trying to tell.
Yeah.
You need to progress to bigger and better and broader things.
Not starting back over.
And it started me back over, and all of a sudden I'm playing like 12 hours of real-time gameplay where I don't have any side quest options. I can't go back to those big cities. I'm stuck in this farmland. I didn't sign up for this. And I stopped.
Rayman Legends was the game I was trying to think of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That game was fun. I enjoyed that game. I played that all the way through. But kind of another one that I also played all the way through and thought about going back and playing a little bit again, because there's a few side missions I didn't finish, but Ghost of Tsushima was really good.
Yeah.
That's a game that has wonderful graphics, great story, and I didn't throw it on that emotional game list because I don't think I became as emotionally attached, but it was a really enjoyable game because there is a lot of emotion in it in terms of like you get to choose certain stories. There's certain things you do and what choices you make in it. But boy, there are some heated discussions on Reddit of what choices you make because, do you choose to wear the armor to make, because like there's an armor that would make you do a level easier, but it's the armor of your enemy, and will that dishonor you as a samurai? So, there's the moral questions that come up inside the game, which were interesting, but it made the game was very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Overall, and I may play. They have a new one released, and I may play the second one. I enjoyed the first one so much.
Nice.
I should look and see if that's on a Switch, because that game would lend itself really well to being on a Switch. The one downside is it's usually, and I seen someone said like Steam sale for the win. Yeah, that's the one downside about having a Switch and deciding to buy it for that platform. Generally speaking, unless the game is really antiquated and are just trying to squeeze $2 juice out of it, you just don't get discounts on if it's a tier 1 game. You're just not going to get much discount on it. It's going to just
Skyrim is $50 for the Switch 2.
Yeah.
Skyrim.
Yep.
Skyrim is 16 years old now. Skyrim is $50 for the Switch 2.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
I used AI to look it up. I said, platform game where you jump and run to song Black Betty. And it
Well, there you go.
Speaking of that, I was almost late to this because I said I'd bring this up because this is kind of funny. I walked by it a couple times. I've noticed it, and I didn't know what it does. There is a big transformer set. There's a pair of them on these poles that is kind of in the middle of my neighborhood, and I went for a walk today. And I knew I had to be back for the live stream here. I've been trying to walk, get some exercise, and I was like, I've walked by that, and I don't know what that thing is. It looks like a clock, but it's got the hands at the roughly 10 and 2 positions. It's probably about this big around, and it's got another hand in the middle, so it's got 3 hands, and N is in the middle, and the numbers I believe go 1 to 16. So not a clock, but looks like a clock. The hands really look like that.
Right.
I've always wondered what that was, and I was like, I wonder if AI knows what it is. So I did the whole, what is this thing? And ended up I stood there under the transformer reading for a little while and how the whole mechanism works. So sometimes AI can be useful for things like that. Like I've always been curious. So that is cool. What beer we have now?
This is the latest annual release from Fort George up in Astoria, Oregon. It is the 3-Way IPA. This is an annual collaboration with 2 other breweries, usually in Oregon. I know nothing about this one going in, so we're just going to try it. Limited Seasonal is a collaborative effort between Shred Beer Company, Uprise Brewing, and Fort George. And it has aliens and what looks like Alf on a skateboard.
I like Alf.
It's so great.
Is there a cat on there somewhere?
I don't see a cat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then are we sure it's Alf?
There's Johnny Five though.
Oh yeah, that is definitely Johnny Five.
Yeah. So we've got a Roswell alien. We've got Alf and Johnny Five. Alf is holding a vinyl record that says Shred. Johnny Five's playing the triangle.
I like the graphics on that a lot.
They've always got solid can art.
Yeah, the Johnny Five stuff is cool.
Yeah.
And I will not rewatch that movie because I doubt it holds up. But I'll admit that it inspired me as a kid. Those type of movies, even if they're in. This is how I feel about a lot of sci-fi. Even Star Trek. Sometimes the meaning of the episode is in there and it's really good, but there's some fluff around it, maybe not so good.
Yeah.
But
there's Fisher Stevens. We love Fisher Stevens, okay? Fisher Stevens, really, really great guy, and he fully recognizes I should be crucified for doing what I did in that movie.
The sci-fi still served to inspire us. It gave us ideas. It made us think about the future. It made us think about what technology could be. I always think of sci-fi from that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you watch some sci-fi that, even modern sci-fi, it's bad, but at least I got to watch something and I got the idea. I watched the show the other day, and I'm not going to recommend people watch it, but I love some of the concepts in it from that movie, and I just liked some of it. Then there's this stupid that got into it that probably some idiot director insisted that they'd only fund it if they could put some stupid in it. I feel like there's movies like that, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah. Short Circuit, nostalgic, but you realize just brown face. One old movie that does hold up is War Games. I watched that.
Yeah.
That holds up. That movie's as good today as it was, and it has concepts in there, the war dialing and stuff like that. But I mean, just the way he did the things he did were fascinating. Like, for that to be as old as it is, it still had this, of the era they were locked into, but lots of relevance for the way things were thought about there. I'm not saying the Whopper scenes were all realistic type, but the concepts are there. And it really has some parallels to the way we look at modern AI and things like that, for it to be a somewhat thinking machine. Obviously, that wasn't capable, but that's what sci-fi is these extrapolations of ideas that give us, thoughts and stretch out what this could be. And I appreciate it because we were sharing laptop stickers with some friends and pictures of all the crazy stickers we have. And one of them had a Whopper sticker right in the middle of his laptop. I'm like, oh, I like that one.
Yeah.
It was from a hacking conference, and I was like, where did you acquire said sticker? Because now I want one of those. He's like, I was at a hacking conference, and someone was just handing out Whopper stickers. They're not for any company. They're just someone made them and handed them out.
Nice.
And I was like, that is the beauty of a hacker conference. There's not a purpose for a lot of stuff. It's just there because
someone thought it was cool. Yep.
Someone thought it was cool. The conference I was just at is called MSP GeekCon. Once again, it's a conference that specifically for the MSP space is what it's leaned towards, but it's a nonprofit community conference. So it was just a giant geek fest. The guy who runs, they had a giant, I think they had a 50 or 60 people playing D&D there. I mean, the game rooms were full, which were cool. They went till like midnight or 1 a.m. playing D&D and stuff like that. So it's, proper community driven conference. So it was definitely a whole lot of fun. Yeah. Those are the ones that I love the best. The hacking conferences are generally speaking community driven by default, with limited exceptions. But the MSP Geek is the one in the IT/MSP community that is community driven. So I look forward to that every year. I think I don't know the exact head count, but I'm going to guess it's right around 700-800 people.
That's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty good sized conference.
Yeah.
I've thought about, because there's enough people because it's focused on the technicians, not the business owners.
Yeah.
I thought about that would be a good one, because I know all the people involved really well with that. That would be a cool one to sponsor, or figure out how to do adjacent, like a Homelab community one. Because I know that would be really cool if we could get a Homelab event doing. Because Linus, I think I wish he did it more, because he has the funding to do it, but not the desire. I know it's not his wheelhouse specifically, but come on, Linus, and I'll throw some shade at him. You ain't paying employees much. Take a little, so you're building maybe your 4th or 5th house, throw some money at the community and put on an event that loses money.
Right.
Loses your money.
Yeah.
And we'll love you for it, because I think that's a community good Linus could do with it.
We know he loves losing money. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's making money because some things are doing well.
Yep.
Is there an ad read?
There is not.
Okay.
Not today. Unless, screw it. Today's episode of Talking Heads is brought to you by Vyro.
Ooh.
Shipping soon.
Self-promotion.
Yeah, look at that. What possible good has ever come out of the phrase, well, how hard could it be?
We don't do things because they're easy. We did them because we thought they would be easy.
Yeah, exactly. Turns out, not so easy. But, Vyro, basically ready to ship. We're 100% assembled and packaged. We're waiting on a couple little logistical things, like, are my labels acceptable to Mauser, where they will be being shipped to their main distribution center? Do they have UPCs? Do they have EU required safety data sheets, for things like, do not shower with the Vyro controller, do not lick the 54 volt PoE injector, do not, things like that. Literally just like crossing some D's, dotting some I's. The hope is these get shipped out on Friday. Worst case scenario, they're gone to crowd supply on Monday. And so if you bought one already, we're final days as far as shipping. If you want one, they'll be available on Mouser.com immediately after all of the backer orders have been fulfilled. That has been my thing from the beginning. There's nothing I hate more than backing a Kickstarter and waiting for my item and then seeing it available for sale on Amazon for $50 less than I paid. Like, yeah, there is no worse feeling in the world, and I will never do that to people. So, available literally now, or close to now. Now-ish.
Close to now.
Now-ish.
But like, it's now inevitable type thing. It's like we're just putting some papers in boxes and those little things. That's awesome. That is amazing.
So,
he's got to let everyone know it will cause cancer in California. It's just easy. I don't know if it will or not. We just put it on everything.
I actually didn't put a Prop 64 notice on mine.
No.
I
do not eat is not food.
Yeah, I didn't look into state by state regs as far as shipping.
If you solve whatever California wants, you've solved 49 other states.
No, exactly. Yeah. So probably the resin used to bind the PCB is known to cause cancer in the state of California. So
yeah,
but you are correct. I don't have a Prop 64 warning on it. I'm wondering how big I have to be before that's a problem. Yeah, like as we're growing, we're figuring a lot of things out. And
someone said Prop 65.
Sorry, Prop 65. I always get that wrong. It's Nintendo 64, Prop 65.
or Commodore 64.
Or Commodore 64, yeah.
Either one of those are acceptable.
Yeah.
So, last time we talked, and I have a better understanding of it now, and I said, I discounted a little bit, but then I realized, okay, definitely it was an issue with Microsoft preloading all the passwords in the clear text. And not that I said it was great, but it does require someone still to be on your system to do it.
Yes.
But we did it, folks. We, the community...
Tom and I are taking credit for this.
Tom and I, we can take credit for it.
Yes,
but maybe someone from Microsoft watched, but Microsoft was shamed into fixing something. And
yes,
they decided that maybe this. I mean, they weren't wrong when they said it worked as designed. I mean, technically, any flaw that Microsoft publishes is not working as it designed.
Right. But if you remember back a couple of weeks ago, we talked about there was a flaw discovered in Microsoft Edge, where if you've used a password manager or specifically a browser built-in one, so the password manager in Chrome, Firefox, Edge, whatever, Safari, what they do is they hash your passwords locally using a local key that the browser knows. When you need to type a password into a field, what it does is decrypts it on the fly, pastes it in, and then removes it from the clipboard history immediately after. But at some point, the browser has to know it's typing in your password. Yeah. Like, it has to know what the characters are so it can send those characters unencrypted to the destination. It's a fact of life. What Edge was doing, though, was loading all of your password book, every last credential, when you launched the browser, and then just holding it in memory fully unencrypted in plain text. And while it wasn't being actively exploited, a lot of security researchers went, I give it a week. And we kind of said the same thing. Color me shocked, actually. And yes, we are taking credit for this. Microsoft released a statement last Thursday, I think it was, that they are changing the way that Microsoft Edge saves passwords in memory. They will be fully encrypted. They will not be loaded at launch anymore. You know, the way that everyone else does it.
Nice.
So,
it's not like there's not like others we could reference for this.
Right. It's not like your code set is based off another browser that already has this feature, for crying out loud. But it's nice that they listened to the pushback. It's nice that the right people heard the right people talking and that they're addressing this. And like, as much fun as it is to rag on Microsoft for another stupid decision, I love also giving credit to companies when they do good things. And so, good job,
or
Microsoft.
When we shame them into doing good things.
Or
however they got there.
Even when we shame them, they still, in the end, made the right decision. And so, thank you. Good job, Microsoft.
Good job, Microsoft.
Securing your passwords.
Yes.
I appreciate
better job than it was last. This is way better than it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of progress in 2 weeks. Well, there's still microslop, so yeah.
There are some microslop.
That's a whole different
one. This has been going through the Homelab community like wildfire. Plex. We all know Plex. If you have a Homelab, you probably know Plex.
Yeah.
Plex is the reason that so many of us have so many hard drives.
Yes.
Yes. Plex is kind of a big deal. It's traditionally been a free install for running a Plex server. So you can run your own copies of your own digital media to whatever devices you own. And that's how a lot of people run it. There are, however, some premium features. And the premium features have always kind of rubbed people a little bit the wrong way, but at the same time, they've been fairly affordable, and you're helping develop this application that is technically free. And so, yeah, if I need to pay, $4 a month to enable this feature, like I do that for a lot of different things. I have subscriptions for a lot of different software that makes my life easier, but also goes to the developers to help continue making my life easier. Plex also sold a lifetime subscription.
Yep. I'm glad I bought it when I did.
In yesteryear, it was $99. And about a year and a half ago, it went up to $250. And people kind of went, whoa, that's not what we signed up for. Like, I'm fine helping you hire developers, that kind of thing. But $250, that's a lot of real actual money. That's less of a community driven effort, and that's more of a, pay us kind of statement.
I mean, what's DaVinci's Resolve cost?
$300.
Yeah, 300. Okay,
yeah.
I'd say it's like 300 or 400. It's not. I don't remember being crazy expensive.
Yeah.
So how much would just a player? Because I mean, we could play everything in DaVinci, by the way.
Right.
Not that it's ideal for that, but it's.
The streaming gets a little complicated, but yeah.
But no, there's actually a feature you could do that. It's the way you work with remote editors.
Yeah.
It's actually a cool feature they built in. But anyways, still not a Plex server, not at all.
Yeah. But no, $300 for DaVinci Resolve, totally, approachable price for what it is. And it's the same kind of transaction of like, look, it's available for free. You can download it for free. You can start working on it. If you need some of these more premium features, if you need, hardware H.264 encode decode in your editing timeline, if you're doing a lot of like consumer level stuff, we'd prefer you give us $300 and that makes sure it stays free for everyone else. Cool. Yeah, everyone's cool with that transaction. Plex announced they are tripling the price of their already obscene, in my opinion, lifetime membership. $750.
Woo.
You've now eclipsed what a lot of people spend on their home labs. Like, the server that I started my channel with, I think I built for $400. New case, new power supply, new used motherboard, RAM, hard drives, HBA, everything. It was like $400 all in. And honestly, for Plex, it would probably still run today. $750? For what? For features that I could work around for free on some other system? I don't know what they're trying to do here. Well, I know exactly what it is they're trying to do. They're trying to convince you to get a subscription membership.
Yeah.
For I think it's $8 a month right now.
Because those freeloaders like myself who bought it on sale at some point in time. I bought it so many years ago when they had the lifetime membership. But I mean, I actually quit using Plex. And I kind of get it. For those of you who didn't know, Jellyfin also increased their price by like 200%.
Yeah.
It went, 200% times the free that it costs.
Yep. Yeah, Jellyfin is having a grand old time trolling
Yes.
right
Great
now.
job, Jellyfin. Fantastic.
Yeah, this is Jellyfin's founder, Anthony Lovato. As of July 1st, we will be introducing Jellyfin Premium Plus 1 Super Unlimited with ads, and we will increase the price to $0 USD.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I will say, I still use Plex. I was given a Plex Pass back when I started the channel, I think by Creative. The team over there was considering having me do some videos using Creative hardware and Plex. I don't think the project ever panned out, but they still gave me the Plex license. They're like, yeah, here, we do PR for them too, so here you go. So I never even paid for my unlimited license.
What made me move off of Plex was I was having a weird issue. So I ran it on my Synology, and my Synology has multiple network interfaces. And so I use it for multiple things. So on my network that was more lockdown secure, it pointed over there, and I had I did a whole video about how to set firewall rules in Synology, and I covered how to do it with the Plex. That way you could have one leg of it instead of trying to pinhole or wrap or firewall through to another side. I'm like, yeah, you just pop another network card, lock it down, so the only thing bound to that network card or available is Plex. Worked for, I don't know, 2 years, never had a problem.
Yeah.
And one day, it would just play partway through a movie and pick random spots to stop. I spent the next month chasing that, and finally I moved to Jellyfin as a solution. I'm like, I don't know what the problem is. It just decided to do this.
Yeah.
The way you could get it to stop would be to put it to a single network interface, and it seemed to work. But I don't know how. I'm like, I don't want to do it that way. I wanted to do it the way it's been working for the last couple of years,
right,
with multiple interface. I could not figure out exactly what caused it.
A bona fide server application should be able to support multiple network interfaces, especially if you have the Lifetime Premium membership.
Yeah, it just did a weird thing. It would just go through moving dunk. But the CPU would be sitting at 0%. It would just simply stop sending packets. I mean, I was Wiresharking this.
Yeah.
And the stream would just stop sending. Now, you could restart the movie and it would work again, but obviously that's not an ideal viewing experience.
Right.
To go, I am 3/4 of the way through this Star Trek episode. Well, I guess we're closing Plex and opening it again. And then it'll finish this.
That's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I'm still on Plex. I'm seriously considering just jumping over to Jellyfin. I'm in a situation where my entire Plex library is on a NAS, and my Plex instance is just virtualized on one of my nodes. And so I'm looking at, on the same node, just spinning up Jellyfin, pointing it to my NAS library, and going, here, have at it. And I can run them side by side and see.
Jellyfin indexes fast. It's it reminds me of older Plex. Because I remember Plex, as it kind of progressed, it got, I don't know, a little more confusing.
That is my chief complaint. And in fact, I sent out a pretty nasty gram on Blue Sky directed at Plex a couple of months ago, because they changed their interface on the Roku TV to a more modern interface. The problem is, my kids could no longer navigate it. It was so confusing. And this isn't like a muscle memory thing. Oh, where's my show? It's that you have to highlight a menu and then wait for a drop down to proliferate. Because the default view, if you click on a library, is display it in recommended view. What's been added to the server recently, or continue watching. Well, that's not how my kids use Plex. They want to watch a particular cartoon, and specifically they want to watch like a specific episode. I do have a family of autistic people. And so
they're like, I need to see this episode at least 4 more times before I can move on.
That's exactly right. Yeah, no, it's I want to watch Bubble Guppies, but this Bubble Guppies. This is my comfort one. And how do you get there? Well, you can't get there through the normal navigation. You had to go to the top to libraries, let libraries pull down to your categories, so your TV shows and your movies and music and things like that. And then you had to highlight that option and wait for the menu to pop out so you could say library view instead of recommended view. Switching a user account was different depending on if you were an admin user or a non-privileged user. You have your little user icon in the top left corner. You would navigate your remote over there, and you'd hit OK. If you were a non-privileged user, it would bring up the user switch. Makes sense, right? If you were a root user, it would take you into a sub-menu. It would change the whole screen. It would take you into a sub-menu of edit all the other user accounts, plus look at your profile, plus your account history, plus all this. And then on the very bottom left-hand side of that was switch profile. And so you had to go to 2 different sub-menus just to switch profiles out of my account onto one of my kids' accounts. And finding that was insane. And everything about it was just that levels of convoluted. And
yeah, that's not a good user experience.
Right.
I'll admit I've had some issues like with Jellyfin when you're trying to get back to the list of shows. They just have a funky way to do it, but once you know it, and it's not crazy. It's actually nice on my Chromecast. It's only bad on my phone. It's fine again on if you're just using it as a web interface.
Yeah.
Because for me, mostly, and this was true for Plex, true for Jellyfin, is I use the app on my Chromecast. It works wonderful. Chromecast is one of those things I think Google got right.
Yeah.
And it's just the ease of use. The stupid little remote works good. The voice does not work amazing sometimes.
No, it does not.
But yeah, but I just like to, and 90% of the time I watch YouTube, and 10% of the time I watch something on Jellyfin.
Yeah.
So the little quirkiness doesn't bother me that much in Jellyfin, and it's easy enough to. Mostly I watch movies, so it's easy.
Right. Yeah. We watch a lot of TV shows. I've got 3 kids in the house, plus me, my wife, and my sister all live here, and so we all have different Plex profiles. We use Roku's on the back of all of our TVs, and the #1 app launched on there is Plex. It's the very first option you can find on the home screen. And it works great because, hey, we need a TV show added. We need a movie added. We need this. We need that. And the kids could navigate it until the last 4 or so months. They changed the interface, and it's horrible. My 2 youngest struggle really, really hard with it. Simply finding a show they want to watch. Because getting to the alphabetical list of TV shows that you have is just way too complicated for the average Plex user, apparently.
No, that's not how it should be.
Right. And so yeah, I'm thinking about just firing up Jellyfin in parallel and going, hey, have it in my library.
Give it a try.
See what happens.
Yeah.
I've already installed the app on the Roku, and so probably tomorrow I'll get that server up and going.
Yeah, it indexes relatively fast. I really haven't any issues with it because I moved that. I actually did try MB for a little while because I believe it was just easier to load. I don't remember what problem I ran into when I was using the Synology. So all I did was take the Synology and do it. But when I moved to Jellyfin, I moved it over to TrueNAS.
Yeah.
So, I moved my library over to TrueNAS as well. So I just decided, well, let's listen to TrueNAS, and I've been waning away from Synology. I'm down to. I gotta sell it because I just don't have a need to kick it around anymore. I'm not really doing much. I used to keep numerous Synologies around for scenarios because I was doing Synology consulting. Synology has decided to implode on themselves with a series of poor decisions that they slowly have tried walking back on, but not done a good job of it anyway. Matter of fact, I used to talk to the engineers and the people there, and they did not. I asked them for statement before I did my videos on their demise. I said, do you have anything to say for this? Like, please tell me it's not true. I want to say that I'm overstating this, and then you guys aren't locking people's drives in and telling me they can't use drives and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, no, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And we'd still prefer you not do a video on it. And I'm like, well, that's not helpful in any way, so I'm going to do a video. And I don't even bother including your statement in a video, but I gave you a chance to to try not to be dumb.
Yep.
But yeah, that really destroyed them. Well, two things destroyed them. Synology still has active backup, which I think is good. And there's still, I might do a follow-up video where the business use case is still there for Synology, but they've niched themselves into being a niche product, because I did the comparison recently in 2026 here of what the Synology surveillance station works like. I used to sell a lot of them.
Yeah.
I don't anymore because, and people asked, you don't do updated videos on it. I said, they have an updated surveillance station is why. Like, over the last 6 years, the world changed just a little bit. We sprinkled in a little object recognition and easy databases for this, and companies took advantage of it, such as Unify. They've done great jobs with self-hosted, what I would call, AI is not really the right term. It's really machine learning, but AI sells better. So we have AI cameras. It's all using, if someone's reverse engineered a lot of Unify stuff just to look at what they're doing. And guess what? Unify didn't reinvent the world. They're using, I believe, the YOLO image recognition, which is what everyone uses as a model to do this.
Yeah.
And the same, I think they're the tensor chips. So the same chips everyone's using to do this. So once again, they didn't reinvent the world.
Yep.
But why not put that in? They just have not progressed over there. And they talked about doing it. They announced that they were going to do all this. They just never, that was on a roadmap, but they just kind of said, no.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's, Synology's dead. And now Plex is, well, doing Plex things. And we're all talking about Jellyfin now.
Right. Right. Like,
and Jellyfin's on TrueNAS. And TrueNAS is definitely popular amongst this Homelab community.
Yep. So no, I'm gonna fire up a VM and throw Jellyfin onto it. You know, just run them in parallel, see which one I like better. I have a feeling it's gonna be Jellyfin.
Well, and I do think when I switched from Plex to Jellyfin, I seen someone had this comment that they had some challenges with the app, and I might have at the time, but now it's a full blown Android app, and is it really an Android app when it runs on the Google Chromecast? Isn't it something slightly different? Whatever it is, it works.
Yeah.
So I do have the Android app on my phone.
WebKit app, something like that. Yeah, it's basically using the Web GUI, which is all the Discord app is doing on your phone. It's just using Firefox as a base.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, actually, I think they wrap it in a tool called Electron. But either way, it's still it's a solution that works, and it's a functioning solution with Jellyfin. I can at least speak for you. You'll try it on a Roku and report back, but I can tell you it works on a Chromecast.
Yeah.
And Chromecast are so cheap that, you know, they're kind of low hanging fruit to pick one up.
Yep. Exactly. A couple super chats to get to. Jordan sends over $2 Canadian. Thank you so much, Jordan. Plex, you mean the Bluey app? Yeah. Actually, right now, I am so proud. It's the Mythbusters app. Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
That's way better than Bluey.
My kids have been going nuts for Mythbusters for the last couple of months now. And so, yeah. What's funny is I watched them all over the last 20 years. And now my middle kid is coming up to me and going, asking like just the most off the wall questions of did you know? Did you know that when pigeons fly inside of a semi-truck, the truck weighs the same because they're offsetting themselves with air that's inside the... she's seeing the videos and she's understanding the explanations and then coming at me with these random did you know questions. It's like, yes! So cool. Jay sends over $5. Thank you, Jay. Sorry I'm late. I was, whisper shamefully, touching grass. That's allowed. That's allowed. Yeah. I mowed the grass the other day, so I mean, we all got to do it sometimes.
Yep.
And then Cheese. Hello, Cheese. Sends over $2. WhistlePig 15-year is effing amazing. I fully agree. I've had WhistlePig 15.
WhistlePig is good.
Yeah. No arguments from me. WhistlePig 15 is spectacular.
Yep. WhistlePig in general. Although my favorite, one of my go-tos, and I picked up a bottle of Angel's Envy Rye today. I didn't open it. I still had this open.
Yeah.
This is one of those random things I got for Christmas. I don't know much about it. I don't think it's anything particularly high-end. It's one of those. Well, what I tell people is just don't buy things for me as usual. I prefer, but if you're going to buy something, buy a consumable such as whiskey, or if it's an IPA, I'll at least try it.
Right.
So, but whiskeys, generally speaking, as long as they're not in plastic bottles, I'll drink them.
Yeah.
The ones that come in plastic bottles. In my younger years, maybe I experienced those, but I have a slightly more refined palate.
I still buy the big bottle of Seagram 7 as my house cocktail whiskey simply because I'm mixing something and I'm not gonna there's diminishing returns on drinking whiskey neat over $50 and especially over $100. Like
that one.
Yeah. And so I like whiskey. I like drinking some neat. I'll sit out back with a cigar sometimes and you know, have a little dram of whiskey and whatnot. I'm unlikely to ever go buy like $300 bottles for myself. Like Jameson Gold, maybe an Angel's Envy Rye, like those $100 bottles that are like the super premium. That's my top shelf. I don't feel like I need to reach any higher. But that being said, I don't feel right about just using those as mixers either. Like I want to experience those as the whiskeys that they are.
Yeah.
And so I'll flip between like some $30-ish bottles, like a bottle of Bullet Rye, or the Elijah Craig small batch. Like that's another fantastic $35 bottle.
That's a good one. I do like the Elijah Craig.
Yeah. That's one of my favorites, and I've usually always got a bottle of that here. But if I just want a cocktail with dinner on a random Tuesday, like it's Seagram 7 going in that because it's $17 for a handle.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's all you need.
I see a few questions I would actually like to address real quick. Synology did the whole, we're going to lock you in. You can only use our drives. By the way, our drives are expensive.
Yeah.
Then they said, okay, maybe you can use certified drives, which are also expensive.
Which are also expensive,
but Synology didn't get in the drive business. They just certified them. And so they made a pain in the ass. And I backed off a little bit on that. So that is really, they didn't show an understanding of the community, I feel. And that's what really hurt them, because they didn't realize how important probably this or the Homelab community is. And they really focused on, like, all their new product releases were very upstream, like the backup server they had. I never reviewed it. It just wasn't that interesting to me, especially because the backup server cost $36,000 was the base price for it. Oh. Now, Wendell did a good review of it, I thought. Yeah. And I kind of get it. It's a good enterprise play, but it wasn't fascinating to me. It's an enhanced version of their backup that also has the ability to do instant restores. So it would back up a machine and do an instant image restore, so you could actually RDP into a Windows image that was booted immediately.
Yeah.
The laptop failed that was on. So some cool concepts in there. But I still think Active Backup is their killer app for Synology for business. Mm-hmm. So if you want to back up a business, and for example, I run G Suite, I use Synology to back it up. It is absolutely hands down the cheapest way to back it up because it has no license fees. Mm-hmm. And if you look at any of these backups, they're ever increasingly expensive. You know, you can Veeam and all these different companies do it, but they all require quite a bit of license, and mostly they don't let you restore local. They just store it in their cloud, which is what causes the ever increasing license cost. Because I've had G Suite since 2000 and whenever it came out, 2008. I was an early adopter of it. I have that much data in it as well, and it backs all of it up. I have all of my employees, former employees, because I only have me in here now. Mm-hmm. So there's like 30 people in there, and I've archived everything inside my Gmail, and I have a backup of it on my Synology. So it does the same thing with Office 365, and of course it has the Windows backups. That is still the killer app for Synology. So I think if you have that use case, you won't find a cheaper deal, even if you had to get sucked into buying their hard drives, which is a one-time cost, but they work fine. And once you start looking, if you have a lot of data backup, what a Veeam license and subscription costs, you're like, oh, this ain't so bad to back up my office and a handful of computers. So they have their niche uses, but like the surveillance station, while cool because it supports many cameras, when you look at it, you're going, because this is old. This is like from 10 years ago, and this is not what a modern interface looks like for viewing cameras.
Right.
And comparing, if you had greenfield, you're not trying to integrate something existing, you're going, I want to buy something new. Unify nails it.
Yeah.
It's the cheapest one out there, and they're the only company out there not charging you subscriptions on stuff. Like, and I say only pretty heavily. There's so few companies that have. There's probably a couple out there maybe in the space that have perpetual license, but boy, they're getting fewer and fewer.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the tech industry as a whole is, and even consumerism as a whole is companies trying to find more and more ways to get regular recurring revenue through subscriptions. That's why GM is dropping Android Auto and CarPlay from all 2025 and newer model years. They want you to subscribe to OnStar and use their navigation and so they can get their data collection. And yeah, I know we just paid you $45,000 for a vehicle, but we would also really like you to pay us $15 a month in Perpetua.
Yeah. Because Silicon Valley only wants to fund a story that revolves around what a company can create that creates a wedge between the user and what they want, and lock them into a market that has ever increasing fees they can tack on top of it. It is so, I don't know. There's not a better term besides late stage capitalism for it. It is just turning us into some thing where they can extract rent for indefinitely. It's so amazing to me. And it's people, oh, you're just a Unify fanboy. I'm like, please name besides MeekerTik and Unify that are the companies doing it. The list is short.
The companies that are doing license-free hardware. That's the end of the list, is those two companies.
Yep. And someone could say TP-Link, but I'm sorry. TP-Link, they're like, in the most literal words I can use for them, is they're just the Temu version of Unify, and they don't care about security. The panel I was on, we definitely threw TP-Link 48.2 right under the bus, because TP-Link went from we're getting banned to they were blessed to be a CNA because of politics. Well, if you don't know what that means, they're a CVE numbering authority. They were granted this. Not because they are good at it, but because they use it to block them and block publishing of CVEs. If you follow Patrick Garrity, he's a friend of mine over at Vulncheck. He's a researcher who publishes all the challenges with getting vulnerabilities published and where the hangups are. And he has definitely published a lot of work around this topic. So if you want to dive deep down the rabbit hole into this, you're like, oh. And then you get further, you're like, oh, this is really bad. I'm like, yes. And so they, that's a whole rant we won't get into. But nonetheless, there's some rabbit holes if anyone feels like chasing them down and realizing many of these companies aren't acting in good faith.
Yes. Zeus sends over a $10 super chat. Thank you very much, my friend. I use MB since the LG TV OS MB app is smoother than the Apple TV version of said app. And I got all LG TVs and projectors because they only sold my data one time. The TV in here and the TV in my bedroom are LGs. My main screen is a Vizio, but it has never, ever once been connected to my Wi-Fi. It is, for all intents and purposes, a dumb TV, or as dumb as a TV can get. And then we have a Samsung in one of our other rooms that was connected to my Wi-Fi at one point because I used the built-in Plex app on there. But that TV is such hot garbage. Picture quality is gorgeous. It's just a 32-inch screen, 1080p, but it is one of the best-looking images in our house. But the onboard media processor, whatever ARM processor they used, if you turn the TV on and it's been off for a considerable amount of time, like 12 hours or more, it takes 5 minutes to load the media applications before you can launch Plex. You can see Plex as an icon, and then you'll hit it and it says, please wait until the OS is fully loaded. And it takes 5 minutes for it to be able to launch the Plex app. It's the stupidest thing ever.
I have a Sony.
So we have Roku TVs on everything.
Yeah, I don't put it online. I have a Sony receiver and a Sony there. Now, the Sony receiver actually has an RJ45 on it, which I think is novel. I have not put it online through Wi-Fi, but I've plugged it in because I needed to solve some weird issues, which you would think a Sony TV that you bought at the same time as your Sony console, and at the time I bought them, they had up-to-date firmware for each other, the latest available, would not have all the dumb firmware issues that I experienced.
Oh, Sony's always had dumb firmware issues. Interoperability of devices is not Sony's strong suit.
Yeah, you'd think Sony, and I actually had bought the Sony receiver hoping to have better compatibility.
Yeah.
Because I had an Onkyo before, my friend really wanted it, and I said, I'll hook you up, buddy. I'll give you this, and I want the new features that were in the new Sony one, and I want it to be really nice experience for me, and it was not a really nice experience for me. They've gotten the firmware better now, but every now and then it decides, it does a couple random things. I cannot reproduce this, but boy is it weird. It likes to turn on once. It's done it about, I don't know, maybe this happens once every month or so.
Yeah.
You turn it off, and you walk away, you're like, I'm done watching TV for the day. And it's like, the hell you are. I'm just coming back on within the next 5 minutes. And I might even replay what was on there because it'll just activate it again and start playing it. It does this with Netflix, even though I'm using the Google phone, which also blows my mind that the Google will start doing it. I was thinking it was the Google, but it has done it on a Switch before, or because we had the Switch plugged into it. It just came on. And which also, because it uses, what is it called, CEC?
CEC. You can power on devices,
It wakes up the Switch and it just puts it on display, and it's like you're on again. Now it doesn't do this too randomly. It's not like it always was within 15 to 20 minutes of when you turn it off.
Yeah.
Not like it won't do it in the middle of the day or anything like that. But it is a weird thing because I turn it off, go to bed, and then you hear this. You hear like the Switch playing whatever the music is. You're like, wait a minute here, it's on again. And my wife's like, who's in the living room watching TV? I'm like, no one. The TV just is on again.
Yeah.
But after I updated the firmware, I have not seen it do that again. So maybe it's fixed. I don't know because I could never reproduce it on demand.
Our TV in our bedroom does a really funky thing every once in a while. My wife and I are what you would call what Reddit would call Futurama sleepers. We will take a series of adult animations and simply put it on play on the TV, and that's usually what we fall asleep to. Whether it's Futurama or Family Guy or Archer or Bob's Burgers or Rick and Morty, or just go down the animation list. American Dad. We'll switch them up every couple of months. But we'll just hit play on a random season and hit go. Because we watch the TV almost primarily at night, like when we're sleeping, our TV is set to like 5% brightness. Like if you try watching it during the day, it's horrible.
It's just you got it on this like dim mode.
Yeah, it's super dim mode. I've custom configured a profile with the contrast at like 10 and the brightness at 5 and the backlight at 1. And is it color accurate? No. Is it a good image? No. But it's barely any light in the room when you're going to sleep, and it's a nice little thing. We also have 3 kids. Our youngest still wakes up in the middle of the night, and it's like, okay, we need something to kind of focus. That TV, about once a month, after we turn it off, so it'll be playing for 2 or 3 hours, and one of us will grab a remote and turn it off. About 10 minutes later, it'll turn itself back on in vivid mode, in the brightest picture profile that TV can possibly establish, and light the room up like it's dawn. What's funny is we use the Roku. It started playing media before, like on Plex, which is like 2 layers deep into a device it doesn't even control, and I have no idea how it does it.
Strange.
Yeah.
That's odd.
Like we'll turn it off and it'll turn off. Like the power LED will go back on. It's got a little soft red light when it's off. The light goes off when it turns on. And if we were like watching Archer or something like that, invariably it'll start the episode of Archer. I think it's season 4 called Legs, which is Ray where Ray gets cybernetic legs installed by Krieger. But it starts off the episode, he's in his apartment and he's trying to get ready for his day, and he's like hoisting himself into his wheelchair and knocking things over. He's trying to make himself breakfast. And the reason this is important to this whole story is he's trying to reach his toaster up on the countertop, which is now billowing smoke out the top of it because it didn't pop his toast properly, and the smoke alarm is going off. And in that show, they use the actual smoke alarm sound that your house makes. And so invariably, our TV will turn on 10 minutes after one of us turns it off, full brightness, start playing that episode with a smoke alarm sound.
Yeah, no. That's an obnoxious noise, too.
Or it's one with like a baby crying or something like that.
Oh, the fun.
Yep. Yeah, we normally get like 70 lumens out of that TV. It'll go like full 800 on us. It's also a very nice 4K LG TV. It's a 40-inch.
I'm actually kind of happy that my wife, she watches a lot of TV, far more than me.
Yeah.
But she doesn't watch it in the bedroom, which makes me happy. I've never been a TV on, fall asleep person.
Yeah.
So we do have a TV in the bedroom, but the biggest reason we put it was so our house was built by a guy, but he kind of lived here while he was building it, and he put a mount on the wall for watching TV. Mm-hmm. But then he took the TV, and we're like, do we take the mount and close
now you
the
just have
holes
this
up?
mount, right?
Yeah. So I picked up a relatively inexpensive on sale. Is we bought the house in October, so I just waited until Black Friday and bought TVs.
Yeah.
I mean, I paid like $100 for this TV. It's still like, I don't know, 40 inches or so mounted on the wall, but I think it's been on since we moved here in 2020 5 times. So it's like,
yeah.
Yeah. So that one's no mystery. It's like, but I do have a really nice, I went with the people talking about TVs here. I did go with a 70-inch Sony OLED. Oh, I do like it.
Very nice.
It's a nice picture. Yeah,
we don't have an OLED in the house yet. I've got a couple OLED monitors, which are really, really nice.
Yeah, they are.
But that's the one upgrade I want to make for the living room. Is in our living room, we can fit exactly a 75-inch screen where we have it mounted. And we have a nice Vizio that we bought when we moved into this house. But man, if I could make that an OLED, that would.
Yeah. And I wasn't going to buy it, but I had when we finished off the basement, we built the studio and then we kind of finished off the basement. Mm-hmm. And it was just one of those opportunistic things because my wife's like, we should buy a TV for the basement. I'm like, yeah, we never watched anything down there, so big. And I had a 60-inch LG. Yeah. And I'm like, let me go see what's on sale. And so I go there just to go buy a cheap TV for the basement, and they had like a really good discount, like display model OLED Sony, because this is right after Christmas at Best Buy, and I'm like, oh,
that's time to go.
Yeah,
I think that's when I got my LG that's upstairs was a Best Buy in like January, like January 2nd. The
demos they put on there, I said someone says Sony OLED's amazing. The demos, I'm just staring at it. Maybe there's a little drool come out of my mouth a little bit. I don't know. It might have been. I was entranced with this beautiful screen. I said, I think that's what I want on my wall. It's a showpiece. It is kind of cool when you watch a movie because it is. I have the Sony THX. I got a really high-end Sony receiver with it. I also have Klipsch speakers all the way around.
Very nice.
So I went full in on Klipsch. The only thing that's not Klipsch is my subwoofer, which is almost the size of a coffee. Probably is the size of a coffee table. It's freaking huge. I have so. Back in my days of owning an electronics store, I had some Sirwin Vega speakers that we had acquired.
Yeah.
And they were really high end. And eventually the speakers, because they were also the size of 3 coffee tables, like the actual ones, I decided those were just too big. I think they weighed 220 pounds a piece or something. They were massive.
Yeah.
And then my wife's like, yeah, those are really taking up a portion of the living room.
Unless they can also serve as a coffee table.
Yeah, but they were so tall, like they were just big.
Yeah.
So eventually I got rid of those speakers and went with Klipsch. I went Klipsch all the way around, except for the Sirwin Vega subwoofer. Yeah. Because I was like, this thing is amazing. And it's so booming. I'm like, it just says it. And because it's in the corner, far away from everything else. It's fine to have it there. I think the wife may have some things on there, but not for long, because anytime if I turn it up, those things come off of it. Yeah. So yeah, but it's nice having that full wraparound sound and high quality. And when I do take the time to watch a movie, and movies are really, many of them are well sound engineered, and you can really appreciate them for that. So
the wildest TV setup I've ever had was shortly after my wife and I got married. This would be 2006, 2007 ish. So pre-flat TV, pre panel TV. And we had a house. The master bedroom had like built-in end tables, was perfectly sized for a king bed, and so you had to put a king bed there. And your end table, like, it all slid together as like one unit kind of thing. But the wall directly across from us was a 30-degree negative grade. And so it's not like you can put something against the wall, especially a tube TV, and have it face the bed. Like, it just wasn't a thing. The house was built in 1968, and so, media in your room wasn't a thing either. So the house had all kinds of weird angles. But we wanted a TV in our room. And so I think it was on Craigslist. The cool thing about where we lived is Infocus, the projector company. Their global headquarters was in Wilsonville for a while. And so you'd get on Craigslist and you'd find like these factory one-offs of projectors on there. I happened to find a projector that was about this big that I think was like maybe 500 lumen. And it was just a 4x3, but like 800 by 600 image. But it was also a short throw. And we had a 4-poster bed. And so I built a shelf on the wall above our bed to hold the projector, and then hung a sheet on the 2 posts at the end of the bed. And we had an 80-inch screen at our feet. It was great.
That's cool.
That was my best TV setup ever.
Anyway, so I see we got a donation here. Any way to get these TVs without built-in ads? I heard even the $2,500 don't have one too many ads. I miss dumb TVs. I'm happy that mine does not really, because it worked without ever getting it online. That was an important thing. That was the thing I told the guys at Best Buy. If it doesn't work without going online, I'm not buying it. And they were cool about testing that.
Yeah.
But I fear that because I remember, I feel like Jeff Geerling did a video on this where he bought a dishwasher, but only certain functions worked. Like the full breadth of the functions of the dishwasher, just like the buttons you press for modes, only worked if you put it online. And that is some serious BS.
Yeah, that is some serious dystopian bullshit. We bought a fridge that has Wi-Fi to tell us when the filter needs replaced and things like that. Well, I don't have water going to my fridge right now. We did for a very short time, and then we had an unfortunate incident where the hose blew out of the back of the fridge and flooded my kitchen. And so we don't have water going there, and we haven't had water going there for the last 5 years. And so I don't need my fridge Wi-Fi connected. Like, for what possible reason other than selling me filters would I connect my fridge?
It doesn't make any sense.
There's not a single function you can offer me that is better than not connecting my fridge.
The words that
terrific. Yes.
Yeah, I had to firmware update my oven the other day. Like, these are things that shouldn't have. Yeah. There was. So I can't remember which I think it was an XKCD, and the salesman's trying to sell a humidifier. And it talks about being able to update the firmware. Yeah. And there's like that pause. It wasn't XTCD because there's like several frames. I don't think it was theirs. Yeah. But there's a couple frames where the salesman says that, and the person just stares at him, and they stare back and forth. Finally, is this in case they invent a new version of water? I was like, why do we need a firmware update on my humidifier?
Right.
And then my wife, God bless her, she bought a Wi-Fi enabled stupid humidifier for the bedroom. And I have no idea why she purchased this, but there's a reason. There's a separate Wi-Fi where my wife has the password, and there's the Wi-Fi that my wife does not have the password, because she is attached to most random things that she bought.
Yeah.
That if it's on Amazon, or she likes Temu, which doesn't. Yeah.
Ooh,
I don't know where this one came from. If it was Amazon, Temu, and I don't log in to her Amazon or Temu, even though it's shared in her password manager. Because when I see how much she paid for dumb things, I only get angry. So I've just chose not to look because it's better for our marriage.
Yeah.
So, and she spends her money on. My wife works and makes good money, so I could complain. It would annoy me, but it doesn't come.
But it would also fall on deaf ears because I bought this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, why would you? Yeah, because there's a giant tablet on the wall now. It's a giant Android tablet. It's I don't know. It's freaking like 3 feet big.
Jeez.
Because she wanted a calendar on there. I'm like, you could have asked me. I would have got you anything better than that.
Yeah, we could have built a Raspberry Pi Magic Mirror, and
it would have been cooler.
Yeah,
and I would have been. I didn't know she wanted this. She didn't ask me. She just bought it.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Can you give me your email login so I can share your calendar?" And I'm like, looked at it. I said, "No, you cannot have my email login."
Yeah.
To put my calendar on there. That's what it was. I don't trust it.
Yeah. If you want to create a dummy account, I will share my calendar with the dummy account, but that's as close as you're getting.
Well, it turns out there's a weird bug with doing that.
Yeah.
So because when I book my flights, Google automatically grabs my flight details because they come into my email and displays them on my calendar. But when I share my calendar with said device, or really actually other people as well, the flight details go away. It's just, one of the things she wanted was to know my flight details to see if they aligned with hers, because she travels a lot for work like I do. And so that's the part. And so now what she does is she looks at her calendar, she attached hers, and she looks at my flight calendar that she can see when you share it from Google to Google, and then she types it in. And I'm happy because she's got what she wants, and I didn't have to share my login with a rando device that my wife bought stuck to the wall.
We have a household calendar that's very similar, and we have a color coding system for everyone, but we don't share. I share my calendar because I have web meetings and crap like that I need to attend, and it's like that doesn't need to be on the main house calendar, and so I keep my own. But then any trip that I have or anything else that goes on a house calendar for everyone, and it's where everyone needs to be at whatever given time during the day. And mind you, there's 6 people in my house.
I'll have to be somewhere.
I have 3 kids with 3 different schools with 3 different levels of medical need. Everything else that happens, with adults in the house, whether it's travel, work, whatever else. Yeah. Eventually I need to build us a magic mirror. It's just, where do I put one? Where makes sense? Just haven't done it yet. I have thought about putting just an Android tablet on the wall that you can walk by and press a button and it shows the Google Calendar, and so everyone can see it, because right now we also have a whiteboard on the calendar, and we mark it up every month of some of the bigger details, oh, Jeff's going to be gone this weekend for this conference. And so
and that's what we're trying to do, is just make it easier. But I'm like, I don't know, I'm fine just looking at my phone, because I see her schedule on my phone when, because we both work in the same MSP IT space, so we go to the same conferences very frequently. So there's a big overlap there. We just don't always go at the same time. She left for this conference a week earlier than me, because she had 2 conferences back to back in the same area. Then I show up halfway, but then we flew back on the same plane. Figuring all that out, logistics. Although they screwed up my flight in a good way. I made $400 of Delta for no reason. So I decided, we're supposed to fly out in the morning, and I don't love early flights. So I said, there's a late night flight. I'll do a late night flight. It was $31 more to book a late night flight. So I just moved my morning flight to late night flight. Cool. I don't know. 15, 20 minutes go by. Delta calls. Hey, we kind of oversold that flight. and you weren't supposed to be able to buy a ticket. Can we just give you $400 to go back to your original flight?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No, I'll leave in the morning then.
Cool.
Back to where it was.
Yeah.
But then, because I'm not as tall as you, but I still enjoy legroom, and so I do the exit row seating.
Yeah.
And they broke that. Then I got in chatbot hell because the lady said everything would be the same as what she told me on the phone.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, awesome. And I opened the app and the flight was updated. I didn't realize until a little bit later. I'm like, wait a minute.
They changed my
seat selection's gone.
Yep.
And I'm like, ah. So yeah, then I went to that level of
Yep.
Yeah, that level of chat. I was in chatbot hell, but it was cool. The guy at the desk, I told him my situation. I said, "Do you want to see the receipt?" He goes, "You're all set. I've already switched it. That seat." They said, "You were the one in that seat before, and it changed, and now they put you back. So I'm just going to put you back in the seat you were in." I was like, "Cool."
Yeah. Awesome.
Then I said, "For my inconvenience, could I be bumped to first class?" He just giggled. I said, "I won't push my luck then." I was like, he just
"It was worth a question." Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if there's an empty seat in a first class place, I'll go do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I've flown first class a couple of times. It is nice. But yeah, same kind of thing. I'm happy to pay $20 or $30 extra for an exit row. You know, I don't need to fly first class. You know,
I really want to fly first class. I've done it a handful of times, but
it's nice. Depending on where I'm going, it's not worth $400. Like,
no, it was only worth it for me when I got other people to pay for it. So so when I wasn't paying for it, I flew first class quite a few times as a rider for companies that want to send me somewhere.
Yes.
And they were bringing me across. I would say my requirement is a first class ticket.
Yes.
And then I would see what they would say, and then I end up with a first class ticket. I'm like, cool.
Yep.
And then to them, they're just what especially if you work for or have done work with large corporate companies that are sponsoring you for something. The travel fee doesn't necessarily get attached to whatever their budget is for what they want you to do.
Correct.
So they're easy to say yes to that rather than an increase in what they were going to pay you to do a thing.
Yes.
Because it goes on someone else's problem and not their budget.
Yep. No, I've used that a couple of times for some corporate events that I've needed to attend that I wasn't going to attend until the company reached out and said, "Hey, are you going to be there?" And I said, "Yeah, if you want to buy me a first class ticket and then pay me for my time on the ground, I'm your guy." And they said, "Not a problem." So which is really funny because I flew to San Jose first class one time. By the way, that's an hour and 15-minute flight from PDX. It was the most ridiculous thing ever. They're like, bottle of wine, breakfast, second bottle of wine. Oh, time to land. And it's like, yeah, I'm feeling great now. Thank God they also got me a car. Thank God they also hired a chauffeur to get me from the airport, because I've had 2 bottles of wine in the last hour and a half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Someone says first class, business class, comfort class, standard class next to the restroom class. I actually don't mind next to the restroom.
Next to the restroom's fine with me.
I'm like, if I got to pee, not far to go. I just call it stowage when they stick you in the back, though. Back of the plane.
I have 3 kids. I can sleep through anything.
Back of the plane can be rough, though, when you hit the rough air, because the tail has a whip to it.
Yes, it does.
Woo, you definitely. I got sick on a plane once because we went through a storm and we weren't sure if we could land. So they went into a holding pattern because there was a tornado. And that was my most unpleasant plane experience, where I got really sick because first, tilt holding pattern. Second, shaking Tom in the tail of the plane. Turns out, man, I'm glad they had a barf bag for me. I was really not well.
I've never actually thrown up on a plane. I've come really close a couple of times too. And mine was a similar situation. We got like 30 seconds notice. This was coming into Toronto, I think. Where they said, "Hey, we just saw a pattern that's developed in the weather. We're going to have to drop altitude real quick. We're just letting you know, seatbelt light is on. Please sit down now. Flight attendants, please take your seats." Like real calm, like. And then all of a sudden, we hit this pocket, and I swear to God, we dropped 500 feet. Like, I was weightless for a while. Yeah.
Yeah,
like just one of those things. And I'm looking around, looking at the flight attendants, and the flight attendants' eyes are getting a little big too. And I'm going, oh, definitely not normal for approach to this airport.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, we Tokyo drifted into the terminal. Like you could feel the tail coming out, like he's hanging that thing out like a Mustang, just and touchdown. Okay, cool, we're good.
That's great. I love my favorite plane story always comes from Ron White, the comedian. And he had the best answer. He says, they were having an engine problem with the plane.
Yeah.
And a big plane, this is not, and Ron was aware this is not a true issue, but it's something they have to address.
Everything's done in duplicate.
Yeah, everything's done in duplicate, so he's understanding this. But he says, he tells the story, he goes, the guy next to me was losing his mind. And he goes, how long do you think we could go with one engine? And he says, all the way to the scene of the crash, man. I was like, that is the best answer. He goes, that wasn't the words he wanted to hear. He goes, I bet we beat the ambulance there, so I kept adding on to it.
I remember that bit. I bet we beat the paramedics by a half hour.
We'll beat the paramedics by a half hour.
So good. One more story that we had was the whole Bambu Lab fiasco.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a company that doesn't know what to do.
Speaking of not listening to customers, and I'll be very upfront about this. I own Bambu Lab products. I have paid for Bambu Lab products. They have not worked with me. I am in the middle of talking to them about possibly doing a video later this year, though. That Bambu Lab products were going to be heavily featured. And so take with that whatever, disclosure you need, okay? I've not received a penny from Bambu Lab. I'm not a Bambu Lab defender. When I bought my 3D printers, I needed my latest batch of 3D printers. I've had lots. My latest batch of 3D printers, I needed the most appliance-like 3D printer that was imaginable. I am using 3D printers for productivity and work, not so I can print myself things to make my 3D printer better, or not so that I can print trinkets and miniatures and things like that. I'm using it for actual work in engineering. I mean, that's what this is. This was printed on a Bambu Lab printer. All of my prototyping has been done on Bambu Lab printers. To that end, I've been a little bit of a Bambu defender. Bambu Labs has made they've not hidden the fact that they are trying to build an appliance and an ecosystem not unlike Apple or many of the other like walled garden systems that are out there. Glowforge does this for laser cutters. You have to use their web connected app. It has to be connected. It's really weird, the reaction from the different communities based on the origin of this manufacturing technique, because laser cutting and CNC in general was multi-million-dollar machines, and then multi-$100,000 machines, and then $10,000 machines, and then $5,000 machines, and all of a sudden we have them on our desks for, $400, and we're like, okay, cool. Yeah, if the companies use old, licensing and is closed source and whatnot, yeah, we're kind of used to that. That's the way that industry works. Cool, sign me up. I have a machine now. 3D printing was born the opposite direction. 3D printing has been a manufacturing technique for quite some time, but the patents expired sometime around 2012. And it was never really seen as like a real competitor to injection molding or any other manufacturing process because it wasn't precise enough or fast enough or good enough. And so instead, the hobby community started embracing 3D printing and started selling machines that you could build yourselves or kits that you could build, and started engineering software themselves. And so it is open source from the ground up, whereas other manufacturing technologies are closed source from the top down. What I'm trying to say is the 3D printing community as a whole is way more sensitive to people breaching the social contract of open sourceness.
Yes.
For better or for worse. Bambu Lab has never shied away from, we want to create an ecosystem. We want a closed off system. We want this, we want that. I still bought into them because they're still the easiest to use and most reliable printers that are out there in a lot of different experiences that I have. That being said, this latest one is not good. This latest fiasco is not good. Because they're in direct violation of open source licensing with the AGPL. The AGPL states that if you use software, or if you develop software that you forked off of another project that is GPL licensed, every aspect of that source code has to remain open. You can't choose to omit features you're not going to use or omit code even if you don't use it. And Bambu has in their slicer, which is Bambu Studio, which is a fork of Orca Slicer, which is a fork of Prusa Slicer, which is a fork of Slicer spelled with a 3 instead of E because it's Web 3.0, baby.
Yeah.
In that transition, they have removed device communication from their slicer and instead passed that through Bambu servers and then back the other direction. However, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to remove a component to interact with the machine if it was included in previous slicer versions. You're not allowed to close source what was previously open source as far as an interaction utility. And so Bambu sent a cease and desist to a guy who has re-enabled Bambu Slicer to work with Bambu printers completely offline. And they said, well, he reverse engineered it. He's in violation of all these things. No, actually, he's way more right than you guys were in the first place.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bambu just, I don't get it.
Bambu's about to get a serious lesson in both listening to your customers as well as open source licensing and laws. Because the organization that wrote the AGPL law is now in part of that communication with this particular issue.
Yeah. And all I could think of that first time meme, the guy's got the noose around his neck.
Yeah.
But I would put Synology right next to them for destroying community.
Yeah, basically.
On a speed run. But not, and someone just typed
someone
that,
literally.
Yeah, they're about to hear us say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, look, I'm okay with you guys developing an ecosystem and making it plug and play. That was what attracted me to Bambu printers in the first place. They are plug and play appliance 3D printers. You put filament in, parts come out. End of story. That's what I wanted. That's what I needed. That's what every single one of my parts that are shipping, this week or next was built with, was Bambu Lab printers for this exact purpose.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll end it with that. Screw Jambu. Screw Bambu. That's my thoughts on it.
Yeah. What's funny
I'm
is
out of whiskey, so we're wrapping up the end of the show here.
Bambu,
that's the note we're ending on.
Yeah, that's the note we're ending on. Is screw Bambu. What was really funny is, I mentioned that I had built myself a Bambu print lab in one of my recent updates for OpenVyro back in February, and I didn't get any notes or comments about that at all. And then I did another video that posted last week and then got shared out to all of the OpenVyro backers today, in which I simply mentioned I built myself a print farm with the Bambu Lab P1S and a couple of customizations to it. And I got like half a dozen comments about like, man, you need to sell those printers right away. Bambu is a terrible company.
Yeah.
And I went, yeah, I'm going to sell $3,000 worth of printers so I can go buy $6,000 worth of printers so they can work 90% as well as the printers I just sold, simply because I have to use them online. Oh, by the way, all my printers are in LAN mode. My printers don't communicate through Bambu servers. I'm using the developer mode that they allowed us to use 6 months ago when this whole controversy started in the first place.
And Gearling does the same thing. He specifically called that out. He has them locked down in LAN mode.
I have mine all locked down. I don't use the send to printer feature. It works fine.
Companies make poor decisions, and there's not a reason. I should not inflict damage on myself.
Right. I'm not going to go spend $6,000 simply because Bambu pissed off the community.
Yeah.
I know that sounds a little uppity, but at the same time, it's like, it's my money and it's my manufacturing, and this is the tool that I use right now for my manufacturing. It's the same justification for using Adobe products. Yeah, Adobe sucks as a company. Guess what? If you want to edit video and also do Photoshop, there's only a couple choices that are out there.
Yep. I say a lot of times I deal with the world as it is while I work towards the world I want to be.
Yeah.
And I say that because, there are times, and there's people who have asked me, like, why didn't you sell your Tesla, Tom? I'm like, because I bought it in freaking 2018.
Yeah.
We might have known he was at least a little of an asshole then, but it's a whole different situation now.
He was an asshole, but he wasn't a Nazi. And there's a very distinct and clear difference between those two terms.
Between his behaviors today and his behaviors then. And it's been a good car. It still works amazingly well.
Yeah.
And I don't have a ton of miles on it. Even though it's an older car, I've only racked up, I think I got 84,000 miles on it. We don't drive a whole lot.
Yeah.
So I got zero reasons to get rid of it. And I get it. Would I buy another one? No. But why would I inflict damage on myself, especially because it did hurt the resale value, so they went down. Mm-hmm. And if I go to buy something else, then I'm spending more money. And there's, unfortunately, like even a Ford Mach-E, I don't want to call it a Mustang. We'll call it a Mach-E.
Mach-E, yeah.
Yeah, because it's not a real Mustang. And it's just not this. It barely has the range my older Tesla has.
Yeah.
Modern. Not to mention I would be a ton out of pocket. So it's like, decisions have to be made.
Yeah. Yeah. Should Tom have to go spend $35,000-$40,000 on a Mustang Mach-E, which has, by the way, all of the same electronic and mechanical problems as people complain about in the Teslas, with the electronic door poppers and Blue Cruise self-driving issues and all the tie-in subscription services. It's the same thing in a different costume.
Yep. And I gotta admit, because you just said something that made me really laugh.
Yeah.
I loved when Elon was making fun of Blue's Cruise and was making Blue Crew memes. Like, this is long before he bought Twitter. It was just this great argument between him and the Ford CEO. Yeah. And it made me so happy. That was the stuff, like, it was trolling, but they also went back and forth and bantered on it and made me laugh.
Yeah. Yeah. So
back when he was just kind of an ass, but funny.
Yeah.
Internet troll ass.
Right. And like today, like, yeah, did I want a Tesla in 2016? Absolutely. They were what I was shooting for with an electric vehicle. I didn't end up buying an electric vehicle until last year. And like Tom, now I have a 2017 electric vehicle that only has 75,000 miles because I bought it from a little old lady who drives to church on Sundays. Yeah. It has a 240-mile range. Would I trade in that vehicle today? No, because it serves exactly the purpose that I need. There you go.
Yeah. Well, I'm out of whiskey.
Yeah, so I'm out of beer. So I think that's officially the end of the show.
And we'll tag me in Discord. I will play with it on my phone for a little while and reply to people until I pass out, and I'll reply in the morning.
Excellent. Of course,
just letting people know my process for this.
Yeah, yeah.
Because as I mentioned, I don't really watch TV in the bedroom, so when my head hits the bed, I just pass out.
Yeah,
so.
That must be nice. Yeah,
it is a weird. I never knew that was a skill, but many of my friends have reported they do not fall asleep within the first couple minutes of hitting the bed. My wife certainly does not, and I didn't really know that was a thing. I don't know why it's a thing. I wake up early, but I wake up easily, but I don't know.
My wife is one of those people that can fall asleep within 5 minutes of laying down, and it drives me nuts because she'll go, "Oh, we should watch this show tonight." and it's a show that I'm not really into. And it's like, all right, like I picked last night, you can pick tonight. That's cool. We'll turn on the show, and 3 minutes in, she's just out cold.
Definitely me.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm like, okay, where's the remote? Oh crap, it's over on her side. I'm gonna wake her up if I move. I guess I'm watching this show now.
Yeah. Well, I wish you luck with that. My wife's already asleep, so I know I'll just go crash out.
Patreon.com/craftcomputing. Get access to the Discord. By the way, we will also be doing an after party on the Discord immediately following the show. We do live voice chat, video chat after every Talking Heads. If you want to keep the show going, talk to me. It's always a great time. Usually hang out there for at least a couple hours immediately following every single show. And we'll also randomly do it throughout the week. So get joined up and help support the channel, help keep the lights on around here. Other than that, like the video, subscribe to Craft Computing, subscribe to Lawrence Systems, links down in the video description to both of us. And as always, we'll see you next week.
Take care, everyone.